Quite frankly, if it wasn't for the pandemic, there's no way we would have launched Noetic. It wouldn't have happened. We would have been doing other things that we were, continuously doing. I was traveling about 180 to 200 days a year, as my wife would remind me. You sleep in another bed for 200 days a year. And I'm like, yes. And so I would have just continued to do that. But it was really because of the pandemic and a halt in travel. It's a very pro and a very positive COVID story. There's a lot of good things that have also come out of COVID, right? It's allowed people, I kind of call it, see it as like as an enforced Vipassana session, right? Where you're kind of like, okay, stop everything you're doing, right? Sit down, think, reflect, contemplate. This is the only opportunity you're going to get to do that. And if you need to reinvent yourself, but you start to ask those questions, like, and believe me, I'm 49 years of age this year. I've been asking myself up until the age of 48, what's my purpose in life? What am I supposed to be doing? Where am I supposed to be going? I've done, well, relatively speaking. And so it wasn't a question of trying to find something that would pay me or a job or anything else, but I just wasn't feeling fulfilled in any way. And then my interest in esoteric philosophies, in mysticism, in Eastern philosophies, in all the various religions and the mystic side of those religions is what ultimately led me to also states of consciousness. But that was always sort of a hobby or an outside thing. And what a profound way to meld that with a toolbox that I've been sort of collecting over the last, 25, 30 years of investment management and putting those two together. So long story short, I feel that I've finally arrived in my life, right? I've now arrived. Now I don't need to ask a question about purpose anymore. I know exactly what I'm supposed to be doing. Ray, that I've been thinking about that a lot. We have been as a group a lot, because when you say that something's a medicine, it assumes that somebody's ill. And we're right now very much focused on, as a society, as a group, as perhaps in the zeitgeist, that we're looking at psychedelics being a really powerful medicine. And it absolutely is. But it's so much more than that. It's so much more than that. It's really about wellness, right? So the Holy Grail for me would be 5 or 8 years down the road. I don't know when, that I walk out of the house, I say hi to my neighbor, Bill, and I go, hey, what's up? And he goes, what's going on with you today? And I tell him that, well, I'm going to the dentist for my biannual, cleanup and hygiene. And he's like, oh, I'm going to a clinic for my, biannual reset. And I go, oh, that's awesome. Great. Let me know how it goes. And we go without there being any stigma, any judgment, any questions, because we all realize that, it's important to be reset every so often in order to, continue with what you need to do in life, with all the responsibilities, everything else, all these issues, that's important. It's preventative. It helps you to do what you do. We're not thinking about psychedelics in that regards yet as a society, right? So we're right now thinking of it more as, okay, here are the ailments, and here is a potential for these molecules to interact with the receptors in the appropriate way to solve that problem. Because currently, what we've got out there to solve that problem is not working. But so we're a long ways away from getting to the wellness part of it, but I hope we're not too long away. That is an area that's currently being researched in a very big way. And we've got some real amazing thought leaders and scientists and researchers that are really putting all their might behind trying to figure out how to take the hallucinogenic component out of the equation. And if we can do that effectively, means that we were able to now, have this as a mechanism, as a medicine, as a wellness tool that can be used safely at home. It could also be administered to children and others, right? So there is, a reason certainly to look into it. Now, personally, okay, this is just Sa'ad Shah speaking. I'm not speaking on behalf of Noetic or anybody else. Personally, through my experiences with psychedelics, which I, certainly very strongly believe in, you can ask my wife again about that, or my kids, that I feel it's made me a way better individual, more grounded individual. I have less trepidations and fears. I've understood the whole concept and meaning of surrender. It's a very easy sort of a statement to make, just surrender. But most people go, I don't know what the hell that means. And who am I surrendering to? What am I surrendering to? And so, but truly appreciating and understanding the essence of that, all of that, being a better husband and a better father and a better son and a better coworker and a colleague and a sibling and blah, 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 is because of the experiences that I've had through psychedelics. And if it wasn't for the hallucinogenic component, I don't think personally that I would have arrived at that. I think the ability to see the world and everything that's within your paradigm from a different perspective and a different lens makes that whole experience so much richer, and it makes you wiser, right? One of my favorite quotes is from the book from Siddhartha, Hermann Hesse, where Govind and Siddhartha having a conversation, and to paraphrase it, Govind basically says, listen, knowledge is transferable, right? I mean, it's transferable. I can teach you something, how to do this, how to do that, or how to trade a bond, or how to make chicken cacciatore the right way, blah, blah, blah. But wisdom is not. Wisdom is not transferable. You've got to walk the walk, you got to live it, you got to breathe it, you got to understand it. But I strongly feel that those experiences that you have through certain psychedelics, done in the right way, responsibly, where you've approached it with, reverence, and you've done the work ahead of time and you do the work afterwards, actually download wisdom. It's all about human experiences. So I think at the end of the day, all we're amassing in our lives is just all the moments and human experiences that we've had. And that, to me, is what ultimately designates who is wealthy and who is not. Right? It's your human experience bank account that matters, not your financial bank account. That's my sense of it. So here's what has come through for me. Okay, again, this is very personal, and this is also one of probably the most profound aspects of psychedelics, which is that it is the most profound example of personalized experience or personalized medicine or personalized therapy that exists out there. I don't think there's anything more personalized than this, meaning that you can give 5 to 10 to 15 to 20 individuals the same exact dosage of psychedelics, the same exact time and minute and whatever, and they will have extremely different experiences. At some level, they may be all sort of similar in some regards, and that's what typically tends to happen when you're doing ayahuasca with a group, that there's a certain theme that pervades across the experience. But everybody's experience is like a snowflake, right? There are no two snowflakes alike, and that's the beauty of it. So for me, it was this profound understanding, again, personal, that this game doesn't end ever. Much like matter never dies, there is no concept such as death. That this game is always on, and it's one project or assignment or learning or experience to another, and you keep going on and on and on and on and on. And as such, you keep evolving, but the process never really stops. So there is no end to this. It's not like, okay, I'm done, finished, we're dead, I'm dead now, I'm going to relax, and there's nothing else to do. It's just Black Hat Man, fade away, and walk off stage left. No, it just never stops. There's a rest period for sure. I get that very strongly, but the game never ends. So in one way, it's like that's perhaps a little intimidating to some people, like, oh, I want it to end at some point. But to others, it's just incredibly liberating, and it's just, feels, wow, if that is potentially true, that's a beautiful thought, that the learnings never end, right? And so that's one thing. And I think the other thing is just is truly appreciating and understanding that literally everybody that you meet is a reflection of you, is a part of it. right?
Yes.
And so that there's one thing to kind of hear that and go, okay, that doesn't really make a lot of sense to me, but it sounds good. But there's another part where you go, yes, yes, like it brings into question how you treat people. It brings into question how you treat yourself. And if we all just were conscious of that, I guarantee you, we'd raise the vibration of that community, of the planet, or what that gathering of that group of people ever so slightly, and it would make this world such a better place.